Cowboy.
I'm begging,
Begging you.
so put your loving hand out, baby. I'm begging, begging you, so put your loving hand out, darling. Drop it, lean with it, rock with it, step with it. All my ladies,
Dude, yeah, we should host dance sessions. Random live stream dance sessions where we just have music, we just dance, and people jump on Zoom,
And they dance with us.
and we're all dancing, bro. We're just dancing for like an hour.
Friday, come on.
Dance party.
Friday, 5 p.m. dance party. 5 p.m. Eastern. Let's go.
Dancing and content. Dancing and content.
Sounds good. All right, let's go. What's up, Fonzie? Happy Friday. Hey,
Happy Friday.
Your number 4 is red. I don't. Oh, that was because you were being so loud. Oh no, that's me.
That's because you're being pretty loud, bruh.
Happy Wednesday. Happy Hump Day. No, happy Tuesday. If you're listening to
Tuesday.
this, happy Wednesday. Good morning, everybody. What's up, Fonz? How you doing?
I just woke
How you
up from
feeling?
a nap. I'm feeling the post-nap grogginess.
Ooh.
You know?
The post.
Yeah, I'm waking up. I'm in the process of waking up. It takes about 15 minutes
Sure.
to fully
You've been awake for like 40 already.
get there.
Anyways.
It's the World Cup. First game of the day was Argentina's game. Don't even get me into that.
5 a.m.
But we had to wake up like at 4:50.
I know. You didn't want to come to my house to watch a game. What's up with that?
Because I had to wake up earlier if I would have come here.
But we have a bigger TV.
Oh, bro, I'm sorry. Next time you can come to
I'll,
us.
I'll have coffee for you tomorrow.
You can come to us and we can watch. Oh, you're waking up at 5 to watch the games?
Yeah, bro, it's World Cup. We
Who
have to
plays
watch
tomorrow at
games.
5?
I don't know.
Yeah, there we go.
Anyways, okay. This will not make it to the final episode. Anyways, here we go. You ready, Fons? Are you ready?
Trying to get the intro here. Let me
I
pop it
thought
up.
you were ready.
Let me pop the intro real quick.
I thought you were ready.
Boom.
Okay.
All right, cool. And tomorrow, just in case you're wondering, the first game is Croatia-Morocco. So I'm okay not waking up at 5, if I'm being honest.
Wow.
I'll give it tomorrow to Croatia.
No commitment. Okay.
All
Ready?
right.
Here we go.
Let's do it.
We've got some
Hey,
fresh new
I'm
young
Luis.
talent
And this
doing
is
some things
Fonzie.
that I
And
know
welcome
you
to the
haven't
Content
heard
is
before.
Profit podcast.
In here, you're going to get the insights, accountability, and drive to create consistently and increase revenue.
You'll hear from top entrepreneurs, creators, and anything and everything you need to know about content. All this while having a good time.
Make all this podcast is simple, entertain, educate, and turn your content into profit. Let's go.
That's right, guys. Welcome back to the show. Fonzie, how you doing?
Pretty good. Thank you so much. Guys, if you're listening right now, please don't forget to smash the subscribe button. Or
Follow
just
the follow button, Fonzie.
the follow
the
button.
follow.
They change it. That's right.
It's a little plus at the top
And
of
maybe
the
you
episode.
don't want to smash it. Maybe you just want to gently tap it or caress it. Whatever you're into, that's totally fine. Just make sure
smash
you
it.
make sure you hit it, and make sure you tell your friends about it as well. Right? We would love to have a big party of you and your friends listening to Content is Profit. Thank you.
That's right. And if you want to share a little more loves, just share, go to social media at BIZBROS Co. And we're there. Send us a DM. Be like, guys, I am loving these episodes. I want you to talk about X, Y, Z, and we will talk about X, Y, Z.
That is
All
right.
right. What are we
Like you
talking
said,
about today, Fons?
Your wish is our command.
What are we talking about?
Maybe
today?
not, but we'll see. Depends on what the wish is. All right. Tangent alert.
I am going to answer my own question today. We are talking about if you are launching a platform, meaning podcast, YouTube channel, content platform, here is what you need to know.
That is right. Where did this topic come from? Quick 1 minute background. On the clock, go.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we were in Boise, Idaho, in the mastermind with the inner circle people, and we got called into this hotel room. We walk into the hotel room and we see more than 100 entrepreneurs, amazing people that are doing wonderful things.
You can
and
breathe.
Then
You can breathe.
wait, and then this one girl comes up and she's like, hey guys, I'm starting a podcast. And we're like, what? I am a professional speaker. And we're like, what? You're like 16. What the heck? This is amazing. And she asked us a couple questions about how to start a podcast. We chatted with her for about an hour. She is the daughter of an amazing, amazing entrepreneur, husband and wife that do amazing things in the speaking industry. And anyways, we went through a bunch of questions and we're like, what an amazing topic for the content, because she's starting to build that platform. And I think a lot of people in our community are in that spot where they're trying to decide, hey, am I starting a podcast? Am I starting a YouTube channel? Am I starting a podcasting platform that I can monetize from day one? Perfect. We're going to answer all your questions right now. Was that a minute?
That's pretty decent. And now if you're asking yourself,
Wow.
should I go into
Anticlimactic.
podcasting? Well, let me tell you, from the last couple of years, the podcasting numbers have been rising. All of them, right?
That's right.
People getting into podcasts, the money coming into podcasts. But this is a fun stat right here.
Tell me.
Even though there's more podcasts being started, the actual number of active podcasts have stayed pretty much the same for the last 5 years. Meaning, most of the people that come into podcasting, they quit and they never come back. Meaning, there's a bigger pool of money coming into the podcasting world that you can get a piece of that pie. So if you are also wondering, is podcasting for me? Make sure you send us a message at BIZBROS on Facebook, on Instagram, or go to contentisprofit.com and we can help you decide whether that is the right move for you.
That's right. So a couple of questions that, we got here were like, how do I actually launch a podcast operationally? Like, what are the things? What is the technology? What is the equipment that I need, right? How long should it be? Like, how frequent should it be? Should it be scripted or bullet points? Should it be interview based, right? Is it solo episodes? What are some of the technical questions? So these are some of the things that we kind of answer. So Fonzi, where do you want to start?
Well, I would say let's start by question number 1. How long should it be? For $100,000 million, how long should your podcast be? Is the answer behind door number 1 or behind door number 2?
There's no doors in this room.
I don't know what's going on right
Only
now.
one door. Anyways, how long should it be? This is a fun question, right? And it depends. It depends. So I'd love to ask back, do you listen to podcasts? Like, what's your favorite podcast? A lot of people go with Joe Rogan because obviously his marketing has been incredible. He's been doing it for so many years, but Joe Rogan episodes are about 3 hours, right? So it really depends. I was actually just on a call with one of the people that we help. They have an amazing, amazing podcast in the education and financial side of things. And we're going through the questions, right? So, we obviously are big fans of using your podcast and your platform as a way to build rapport and build that relationship with the person that you're having the conversation with, right? Whether that becomes an opportunity as a client or as a referral based or just as a cool relationship for your business, then obviously that conversation probably is going to be a little bit longer, around the hour time, right? Normally standard is an hour conversation for these episodes, but then we have to talk about how do you distribute that 1 hour conversation, right? It can be a 1 hour block. It can be 2 30-minute blocks, 3 20-minute sessions, right? So on the distribution side, you can split it up that way. Now, with that being said, right, you can start looking at you can start publishing first. And once you start publishing, you can start looking at data that Apple will give you and Spotify will give you on the back end. One of these data is like, what is the consumption of that episode? And you can start looking for trends. Are people listening to more than 70% of my episodes? Are people listening to less than 25%? Like, what are those outliers that you can be like? And for those that are above 70%, for example, those are really, really, really good stats. What are you doing there that people are listening for the full podcast? So for example, in our specific case, we have the solo episodes that range from 15 minutes to 20 minutes, right? Then we have the interviews that are about an hour. And then we have these very, very fast episodes that could be 5 minutes to 10 minutes. Those shorter episodes tend to do really good on consumption. People consume them about 90%. The solo episodes, people tend to consume them about 65 to 75%. And then the 1 hour episodes, the really good ones, hover about 65% to 70%, right? So again, those are some data that you can look into. And then I know that you have this spreadsheet here.
Yeah, I just want to share
share.
a few points, also reference to it depends, right? But first of all, I'm going to share some data that we got from our good friends at Libsyn. And the average, they actually share this as the myth. The ideal length of an episode should be 22 minutes, right? And that's what a lot of people say. But out of the top 200 podcast episodes in the Apple charts, they notice that the actual average of length of these episodes is 62 minutes, right? About 70% of those episodes fall into the between 40 minutes and 1 hour category, which is pretty impressive, right? So people like those long form pieces of content. And at the end of the day, if you think about it, podcasting is a very personal form of media. You are with people in their car. Sometimes you're with people when they're showering, or maybe we're doing the business in the in the bathroom. Who knows? But at the end of the day, people just have you. You have people you are in people's ears sharing your message, and they literally take you with them. Wow, that was rough. Yeah. Take you with them everywhere and they're listening to you. Now, why do I say doesn't matter? I think it depends on your intention as well, and what is your objective with the podcast, right? Are you trying to build an audience? Are you trying to rank up a podcast pretty fast, right? Or maybe you're trying to build trust with your guests to later transition that into a sales opportunity or partnership. Who knows, right? And in those three specific scenarios, if you're looking for an audience, right? First of all, can you hold people's attention for whatever amount of time that it is your podcast, right? How long does it take you to edit that podcast? For us, when we started, most of the episodes were interviews, 1 hour long, right? And we're like, okay, we want to remove the friction from editing. It's totally fine to do 1 hour. And we noticed that we're pretty good at holding people's attention. So guess what? They stayed at 1 hour. But we know other people that they spend hours editing, and they have a very cool end product, but it's only 20 minutes long. Now, what if your objective is to rank up the charts pretty quick and get a lot of downloads? Maybe shorter episodes like those daily podcasts do, right? Maybe a 5 minute to 10 minute podcast will do, because people will listen to 5-10 minutes and then they say, let me listen to some more. And then they queue up your next episode, and then the next one and the next one and the next one. And guess what? That's going to help you with your downloads numbers, of course, and rise up through the charts. And then last but not least, what if your objective is to build that relationship with your guests, which is exactly what we teach and we can help you set up and do in the Six Figure platform? Well, then you might want a longer interview, a longer conversation where you can build rapport and trust with the person that you're talking to. So yes, 100%, it really depends on your objective, what you're doing. And also, again, back to the publishing pyramid, back to the basics, your capacity and your resources.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to mention that. And, we're big fans. We highly, highly recommend start creating from an intrinsic reason. Like, is this platform serving you, right? So obviously for us, having that conversation for an hour with our amazing guest, it serves us. We love it. It like re-energizes. Is the best part of our week. That's why we do it so frequently, right? The fact that we're having this conversation here, Fonzi and myself, we enjoy doing this. So of course we're going to do it. I'm sure Joe Rogan enjoys having those conversations for 2, 3, 4 hours, right? With their guests. So
do you think he would do it if he didn't enjoy it, but he still get paid $100 million? Do you think he'll still do it?
I think he would never be in the position to get the $100 million if he didn't enjoy it.
Smart answer.
Bam, bam, bam.
Good answer.
Golden Boulder moment. Okay. Anyway, so again, look at yourself, look at your company, look at the people that are running your content, right? Are you guys enjoying this? Is this a long-term play? Because if it is, which we've talked about this before, you're going to have to figure out a way on how to make it enjoyable for every single person. So, awesome. All right. Next question. How frequent should I be publishing the podcast or the publishing platform, right? So Fonzi, any thoughts there?
I think it goes hand in hand with the previous one as well. Kind of like, what is your objective? What are your capacity and resources? We know very successful people in the podcasting world that they just produce one a week. And then we know a lot of people that are very successful as well doing one a day. Now, this is advice from John Lee Dumas, host of the Entrepreneurs on Fire. We talked to him in the podcast movement event back in Dallas, and he shared with us, he's like, the way to go is to do a daily podcast, right? This is a guy, and he said, a daily podcast that is no interviews. This is a guy that has built his career on multiple podcasts a week on interviews. Actually. Like, he's just done interviews all his life, and he was saying the transition is to do daily podcasts on your own. And personally, I think that is based on what we talked previously, which is rising through the charts quickly, kind of like growing that podcast on a quickly basis, just because people are gonna listen, they're gonna binge listen your episodes. So I think that's where he was coming from. Now, if let's say you're using your podcast, right, as your 6-figure platform, and you're trying to drive relationships and sales through it with the guests, the people that you're trying to bring on, it depends on you, right? You might have actually different podcasts where you're getting people on, but it depends on your capacity and your resources. For us, Content is Profit has been that platform, and we do it 3 times a week. Could we do it 5? That'll be pushing it a little bit right now. But at the end of the day, 3 has been enough to build those very high-level relationships that has helped us build our business.
Yeah, absolutely. So here it comes, right? If you are in a place...
Here it comes. Watch out.
Ooh, better. If you're in a position where you have been publishing, right? You already have a system in place where you're consistently publishing, let's say once or twice a week, right? And you want to increase that, right? It's probably a little bit easier to go to that daily format, right? With your own content, let's say, and no interviews. That can be also very intimidating because a lot of questions come back. What do I say? How do I say it? What is the type of content? By the way, if you are wondering how to do all that, we do have workshops and we do have sessions, so you can send us a DM and go through those. That's exactly what we do with our clients. And the other day, FONZI did an amazing episode. You should go listen to it. It's like legit how to have content forever, right? But with that said, right, it can be very intimidating at first to be like, what do I actually talk about? And we actually experienced that when we did our first 45 Live, which was our challenge, personal challenge to actually go out and publish, right? And as we're telling these stories and developing these frameworks, right, a lot happens. So if you are thinking about starting that daily podcast with your own thing, right, here are a few ideas, right? You can debrief ideas from books that you're reading. You can debrief ideas from your own books if you're an author, right? You can read a paragraph, a sentence, and then debrief that. You can tell a story of something that happened that day and then relate it with the business that you have. You can share case studies, right? We highly, highly, highly obviously recommend bringing more people into your platform. You can have that conversation, have one interview episode, and then you can debrief that interview in multiple episodes. What are some of the golden boulders? What are some of the amazing topics that your guests brought to your platform? And then you can go ahead and develop individual episodes for those, right? So here's an example.
Possibilities are endless, my friend.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you want to brainstorm, if you want to send us a message, be like, hey guys, can I jump on a Zoom with you guys and do all this and plan out for the next few months? Absolutely. Just send us a quick DM or just go to contentisprofit.com.
We love doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's an example, right? Like we decided for our personal podcast, we decided 3 a week because we were working with a client at the time that was publishing 3 times a week, and we're like, he was having a great success, and we're like, let's model what works, right? Now, recently we have a client that they were publishing once a week, right? They were dedicating one time of creation, right? And we talk about this framework, like what's your research time, what's your creation time, what's your production time, what's your distribution time or resources, right? She was doing 1 hour a week of creation, and then it was 1 episode a week. Now, it flipped to the sense that we were recording for 1 hour and then we were distributing daily, right? There were shorter episodes. And with that alone, her podcast grew by 40% in the first 30 days, right? So again, there's a way where you can invest your own time, your own resources, right? And then trick or plan the distribution in a way that it can be daily. So lots of things, lots of examples, how frequent you decide based on your capacity and your resources.
I will also say this, a lot of people don't account much for the promotion side of things, right? So it's not just creating the podcast, but then how long are you going to promote it for, right? And how much of your resources are you going to spend on promoting this? Obviously, if you just have 1 episode a week, you're going to have way more time and potentially maybe even money to promote these podcast episodes. Now, if you do it once a day, right, in between episodes, might be a little bit more challenging to properly promote that one that is going out. But again, it all can be done. It really depends on your resources, your publishing pyramid overall.
Yeah, absolutely. Another question that kind of comes up, and it came up on that conversation in that inner circle, was, hey, should I be doing a scripted podcast or should I be doing a free-flowing podcast? FONZI, what are your thoughts on this?
It goes back. I think this episode should be called
There's
It
a trend.
Depends. But what do you feel comfortable with, right? if you've tuned previously to Contents Profit or even this episode, you're going to notice that it is raw, unedited, and we make mistakes, and we absolutely love it, right? It's just part of our personality, and we leave them in here for a reason, right? We want to encourage you to publish regardless of the content not being 100% perfect. But at the same time, I love listening to some really good, highly produced, scripted podcasts. I'm going to give a shout out here, right? Or episode with Phil Agnew on Nudge Marketing, another podcast of the HubSpot Podcast Network, was released yesterday. And if you go and tune into his episode, it's absolutely amazing. The way he scripted his episodes, the research that he does on his episodes, you can tell he spends a very long time crafting this one.
I think he actually published twice a month.
He only published twice a month. Wow. Because of the amount of effort that goes into his content, right? And if you listen to it, he doesn't have a single or like, nothing like that. It's absolutely immaculate. It's incredible. And I love listening to his podcast. But I also love listening to some raw conversations ones as well. So again, it really depends. What I would say is, ask yourself, how will I commit to stay consistent? If having something scripted and 100% perfect out there, audio-wise, is what you want, but at the same time, it's going to put a whole bunch of friction in front of you and you're not going to get it done, then guess what? Maybe the raw, unedited version is more of your style, or at least you should start with that, and then you can potentially transition into the other thing, right? Yeah. But I would ask myself, what am I going to get done and actually hit the publish button and get it out into the world?
Yeah. With our own story, we spent a couple of years trying to figure out the publishing game. And it wasn't until we actually decided and made the decision to this is live and raw, because it removes the friction and we're going to actually be able to publish, is when everything changed for the podcast, for the platform, for the business, for everything, right? So here's a couple of examples. We worked with a real estate company. Initially, the first 8 episodes were 100% scripted. They were shot on location. They had these amazing scripts that they would bring to a guest. They would send the questions ahead of time. It was all this logistical thing for the session that we were doing with them, right? And then obviously it came out really good, but you can see it was a little stiff, right? And as time went by, COVID happened and they had to transition completely online, and the show completely evolved to 100% raw conversation. Obviously they talk about the main topics, right? You should have your pillars and things that your brand is known for and your company is known for. But around those topics, the conversation happened very naturally. They started to let go. They started, they left the suits in the house and they started wearing a little bit looser shirts, right? And they were just having a lot of fun with it. And that resonated a lot with their audience. So don't be scared to try different things and try different formats. How are you comfortable creating? If they put a script in front of me, I completely freeze. We actually try to record these videos with a teleprompter, and it was legit a 1 minute video, and we spent 3 hours trying to record this thing, reading the thing. And as soon as we started and we changed it to the way that we do our thing, we have this cheat sheet that we put in, and it's just bullet point after bullet point, and then we go and we dive into this, because that's the way that we feel very comfortable creating, and that's our style.
To quote a philosopher, this is the way. That's a reference for Star Wars if you guys watch it, but just in case. But honestly, and this might sound a little ethereal, a little out there, personally, it's about energy, right? If you listen to a podcast where the host is all awkward, right, that's not transmitting an energy that he's enjoying what he's doing, guess what? For me personally, that is a turnoff. I'm like, ooh, I'm just gonna change this, right? If the interaction, the energy between the host and the guest is awkward, is not there, ooh, this is not good. I'm gonna get out of there. But what I actually, looking back at the podcast that I listen the most, I stay mainly, of course I like the topic, but I love the host and I love the energy. And I'm like, this is awesome, right? One good example is My First Million, right? The first time that I heard it, I was like, this guys give some really good information, is raw, and they're freaking hilarious. I love their energy. And I sent it to my brother. I was like, dude, listen to these guys. These guys are awesome. They're so freaking cool. And now he's absolutely obsessed with them. And honestly, I think it's the energy. You can have the same exact words being shared by somebody with, I don't know, less charisma, less energy than those two. and I don't think I would be able to listen to that
Yeah.
podcast.
And again, to each their own, right? We have a certain
Exactly.
type of personality, but this is what I normally recommend people. Go and consume content that you really enjoy, and what are the elements that you really like. Extract them, write a list about them, and then try to model that. You don't have to copy 100%, but creativity comes initially from modeling those things, right? So we model a couple of like 2 or 3 creators that we thought, and then we just put it in our style, and that's what kind of got us out of the funk to now publish. This is episode 349, right? So we're about to hit almost 400 episodes, which, you know, is kind of crazy to think about, right? And our lives have changed completely because of this show. So next question. This one might be a short answer because we kind of talked about it a while back, but it's like, do I do
touched
solo
base.
episodes
And at the end of the
or
day,
interviews?
and at the end of the day, you already know the answer.
That's
Here,
right.
say it with me at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. It depends.
It depends. Let's go!
I was waiting for you to say
okay.
it with it, but it's okay. We fell. He didn't watch Dora the
I was going to be
Explorer.
like interviews.
Yeah, it's actually, again, it depends on what is your purpose with the podcast. For us, mainly is build that rapport and trust with our guests. So, of course, we need interviews. We need people to come on the
yeah.
show. But we've been transitioning a lot to brand building, right? And developing our attractive characters. So, for that,
Clearly,
you need
mine
more
is
of a
better.
solo episodes. Well,
right.
you can go to pickabro.com and share your vote. Who is your favorite brother? Is it Luisa? Is it Fonzie? I don't know. You let us know. Go to
I know.
pickabro.com.
There's a reason I'm always smiling because I'm winning every day. Anyways, okay. Last but not least, technical questions,
Just
right?
so you know, my alarm is all I do is win no matter what. I wake up like that, just like.
Hey, winning is more fun than fun is fun, right?
All right. Competitiveness aside, next question. What was it?
Technical questions. So we ended up that meeting with a lot of questions about like what is the equipment that I should be using, like what is the type of camera, what is the board that you guys touch every single episode, right? What, like why you guys have 2 laptops and the iPad, and it's just because we worked really hard and we really like these things and we want to put them in there. But believe me, go back to the first episodes and it was one laptop, very old laptop that was plugged into a cell phone, that the cell phone was the camera, right? And obviously now we've grown resources and we've been able to invest a little bit in the studio, in the location, in the soundboards and different things. But the truth is that you can record and you can produce a fairly high quality piece of content with just your phone and the resources that you already have, right? You just need something to record an audio and then to really publish it. So an example is there's an amazing marketer. His name is Frank Kern. And he had, I think it was like a daily podcast. It was a frequent podcast. And he was sharing one day that he just records it every time he goes out and on a walk on his Apple Watch. Obviously, you know, if you do not have an Apple Watch, right, you might have a device that can record your voice, right? Funny story, when we were in Orlando in one of the conferences, right, we went there for just to learn and network. We were not there to do work for clients, but we had a ton of clients there. And one of them is like, oh my gosh, I'm releasing a book and I'm getting all these amazing testimonials and all these people coming to me and they're saying wonderful things. Can we record something? And we're like, crap, we don't have our equipment here. We don't have the cameras. We don't have like the microphones. We don't have the things, right? But then what we did is like, we always travel with some kind of camera. At the moment, it was a GoPro. So we're like, let's record the video on a GoPro. And then here's what we'll do. We just grab our phones and we put the voice note app as a microphone, because we've seen some TikToks that people do that. And we're like, well, let's do it. And we tested it out. And the sound actually is really good. You can actually cancel the background. And we were in this hall where people were walking by back and forth, right, during the sessions, after the sessions. And we actually recorded with the cell phones and on the GoPro. And the content turned out to be really, really good. And actually, it was a huge hit on the audience because it looked and felt different, even though we didn't have the resources that they were used to.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I think there's a few things that you can do, which is at the beginning, you can just be straightforward with your audience, right? Let's say we would be actually recording this from a coffee shop with background noise. First thing I would say in the episode would be like, hey guys, welcome back to Content's Profit. By the way, if you hear a little bit of background noise, it's because today we're at a favorite coffee shop and there's some people going around. But don't forget to share this episode with somebody, right? Your call to action, whatever it is.
Lean in.
But I would just be straightforward with my audience. Now, this is the thing that I will say, and I love this, but it's the best thing to record is the thing that you already have. So it might be just your phone, right? You might just use your phone to record. Again, remove the friction. What is, if you have all the equipment, but it's not going to allow you to publish because it's just adding friction, don't use it at the end of the day. Fun fact, we bought all this equipment a year before we actually started publishing Content is Profit. And we used it to record another podcast called Brews and Beers. Brews and Bros. Brews and Beers.
Brews and Beers?
Brews and Bros. We recorded 5 episodes and we added so much friction to the process that we never published them online. None of the 5 episodes. And then we put the machine in the closet for a year. We didn't record anything. We had all the equipment that we needed, but we didn't do it. Why? Because we had so much friction in between the creation process and the publishing.
Yeah.
Now, just get your reps in. Just simplify the process. If that means recording just from your phone, just do it from your phone. If that means just doing audio, again, just from your phone without the video, just do that as well. Whatever is going to get your message out into the world.
Fun fact, our most listened episode, like completion rate, was recorded out of one phone when we were in Texas in a conference. We're like, it's Wednesday. We had to record an episode. We don't have the equipment. We learned some cool stuff. Let's go share it. And we sat in the car with one phone and we did the whole thing in a voice note in the phone. And that's the thing that we published. And it has been the most listened episode completion-wise. I think it's 95%. It's amazing, right? And we're like, wow, what a lesson, right? What an amazing lesson. And I had another story that I wanted to share. Oh, yes. My most memorable interview, me being interviewed, was I jumped on this conversation. It was like a 30-minute thing. The guy sent the calendar invite. And as soon as I logged into Zoom, this guy's sitting down in his car with his laptop, right? And the AirPods, right? And I'm like, what's up, man? We start talking. And I just asked a question like, hey, I'm very curious. Like, I love how people create. Like, I love like just seeing the setups. I love to see like the locations. Like, I'm just very excited every time somebody's creating. And I'm like, I just have a question for you. Why are you in the car? Is it because of the sound? Like, and he's like, no, man. Like, this is going to sound a little embarrassing, but, you know, I live in a studio apartment and my girlfriend is going to school and she's doing her classes up there. And I don't have anywhere else to record but the car. And I am like, dude, this is one of the best stories. Like, you are so committed to your publishing, to your show, that it doesn't really matter. And he was sitting down. He's like, yeah, man, my computer is like 7 years old. This is the thing that I've been using. And I just put my headphones on and we're going to do our Zoom interview. And I'm like, this is amazing.
I love it.
And it was such a cool thing, right? So again, if this is adding friction, just think about the lives, the value that you're providing, the lives that you can change just by using the things that you already have. The technology today is amazing. And of course, as you build resources, as you build your business, or if you are a company, if you do have the resources, great. But if you're not creating, then not great, right? So go ahead and create with the things that you already have.
Yeah. And if you were somewhat bothered by today's episode and all the it depends answers,
Yeah.
I would actually invite you just to maybe check inside and ask yourself, am I just looking for a quick win? And I would like you to, again, invite you just to think about, hey, there's no quick win formula in here. Most of the people that have been successful with podcasts is because they stood long enough to be found, right? So again, ask yourself, am I here just to try a quick win? Because if that is your objective, maybe the vehicle for you might be something different, right? But if you're here for longevity, to have consistency and publish over the long period of time, I know that at first you might not get immediate results, right? But as you grow, your podcast will grow as well. You personally will grow as well. Your audience will do as well. And your business, if you're willing to put in the time and the effort and the work, because it's going to be challenging, let me tell you, then podcasting is for you. So
Think about.
I just wanted to give that word of wisdom.
Think about the Netflix show you found in season 5. If they weren't publishing for 5 years in a row, you would not find that show. For me, that was Game of Thrones. I found him in season like 6. So, anyways, think about those things. We really hope this episode moved the needle for you today. Fonzie, any last thoughts? I think that I see you buying pickupbro.com.
I brought pickupbro. I just bought pickupbro.com. Hopefully we can do something really cool in there where people can go and vote, and it's pretty funny.
Yeah. Ooh, baby, let's
So
go.
yeah, go if you go in there and it's not live, send me a DM saying which bro is your favorite one. Also, if you want to have a one-on-one workshop where we can help you figure out your own platform, what we talk about today, and how to have content for eternity. Literally, you're gonna leave with a cheat sheet for yourself that whenever you want to talk about something, right, you're thinking, what do I say? How do I say it? You go there for reference, and trust me, you're gonna have plenty of topics.
We've been testing it. We've been testing with our own clients that already produce content. They are mind blown. They're like, "Oh my gosh, can we do this workshop with our company, with our employees, with the people that work with us?" And it's been a very positive experience. So,
if you're interested, just make sure you send us a DM at BIZBROS on Facebook or Instagram, just saying the word content, and we'll get back to you.
That's right. With that said, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Contents Profit podcast. Go ahead and follow the show in your favorite platform and on social media at BIZBROS Co.
That is right. If today's episode helped you move one step closer towards your goal, please don't forget to share it and leave a 5-star review. See ya.
Bye, guys.
Let's go. Argent.